Imagine a world where digital objects freely coexist with physical ones. This isn't science fiction, it's augmented reality. Unlike virtual reality, which completely immerses us in a digital space, AR overlays digital elements onto our ordinary surroundings, creating a hybrid world where the boundaries between real and virtual become increasingly blurred. The history of augmented reality began back in the 1960s with bulky helmets and primitive graphics. Today, it fits in our pockets and glasses, allowing us to see the invisible and interact with the non-existent. From Ivan Sutherland's first experiments to Pokémon Go and modern AR glasses, the technology has undergone a colossal evolutionary journey. But along with the development of technology, a fundamental question arises. How does our perception of the world change when reality becomes augmented? What happens to our consciousness when digital objects are perceived as part of the physical world? These questions are not merely technological. They touch upon the very essence of our perception and understanding of reality. Behind the scenes of augmented reality's magic lies a complex technological ensemble. Modern AR systems come in three main formats: glasses and headsets, smartphones with AR applications, and stationary displays. Each uses similar principles, but with varying levels of immersion. At the heart of any AR system is a combination of camera, display, processor, and software. The camera scans the surrounding space. The processor analyzes the image, recognizing objects and surfaces, and the software overlays virtual elements onto the real world via the display. For precise positioning of digital objects, SLAM, simultaneous localization and mapping, and computer vision technologies are used. They allow the system to understand spatial depth and anchor virtual objects to real-world coordinates. Modern AR glasses, such as Microsoft HoloLens or Magic Leap, use transparent displays that project images directly onto the retina, creating the illusion that digital objects truly exist in physical space. In mobile applications, AR is realized through the smartphone screen, which becomes a window into the augmented world. Technological progress is moving towards device miniaturization, from bulky headsets to lightweight glasses, and, in the future, to contact lenses with augmented reality functionality. Experts predict that in the next decade, we will see AR systems indistinguishable from ordinary glasses, with a field of view encompassing the full spectrum of human vision, and with the possibility of haptic feedback. Our brain is an amazing tool for adaptation. But what happens to it when reality begins to be enriched with digital elements? Research by cognitive neuroscientists shows that regular use of augmented reality significantly changes the functioning of crucial cognitive processes. Attention is the first cognitive function to undergo transformation. Scientists from Stanford University have found that when interacting with AR interfaces, our brain is forced to distribute attention resources between physical and virtual objects, leading to the phenomenon of divided perception. We simultaneously process two streams of information, which can both improve and worsen our ability to notice important details of the surrounding world. Memory also undergoes changes. Experiments show a dual effect. On the one hand, information presented in an immersive format is remembered 30% better due to emotional engagement and multisensory perception. On the other hand, the so-called digital outsourcing effect arises when the brain stops remembering information, relying on its availability through the AR interface. Changes in spatial thinking are particularly interesting. Regular AR users demonstrate improved skills in mental object rotation and spatial orientation. However, an inverse effect also arises. Dependence on digital prompts for navigation can atrophy natural orientation skills. The phenomenon of cognitive load becomes a key problem. The human brain has a limited bandwidth for processing information. When the AR layer adds additional data to reality, users often experience information overload, leading to mental fatigue and reduced decision-making effectiveness. This is especially noticeable in complex professional contexts, where an excess of information can be more dangerous than its lack. Where does the real end and the virtual begin? This question, once belonging exclusively to philosophers, is now becoming part of the daily experience of millions of people. Augmented reality creates a unique phenomenon, mixed reality, where the digital and the material coexist in a single perceptual space. The philosopher Jean Baudrillard, who foresaw the era of simulacra, could hardly have imagined how literal his prophecy about the blurring of boundaries between sign and signified would become. In the world of AR, the virtual ceases to be merely a representation. It becomes part of our direct experience. We perceive digital objects as elements of the physical world, react to them emotionally, and remember their location in space. Experiments show that after prolonged use of AR systems, the brain begins to process virtual objects through the same neural pathways as real ones. A fundamental question arises. If our experience of interacting with a digital object is indistinguishable from our experience of interacting with a physical one, is there an ontological difference between them? What makes reality authentic? The emotional response it evokes? Its materiality? Or the consensus regarding its existence? All these criteria are blurred in the age of augmented reality. The concept of authenticity of experience is transforming. We are moving from a binary division into real and virtual to a continuum of mixed realities, where what matters more is not the source of the stimulus, but the nature of our interaction with it. Social connections have always been the foundation of human society. But what happens when digital threads of augmented reality are woven into their fabric? AR transforms not only how we see the world, but also how we interact with each other. The emergence of social augmented reality creates unprecedented forms of communication, where physical presence is supplemented by digital layers of information and interaction. Popular apps like Snapchat and Instagram already use AR filters, changing the nature of communication on social networks. Seemingly harmless masks and effects fundamentally alters self-presentation and the perception of others. Research shows that constant use of AR filters affects self-esteem and shapes new standards of appearance, sometimes unattainable in the real world. The phenomenon of augmented reality dysmorphia arises, where people begin to perceive their natural appearance as insufficient. However, AR's potential in the social sphere extends far beyond selfie filters. Technologies allow for the creation of shared augmented reality spaces, where people, located in different physical locations, can interact through digital avatars. This radically changes the concept of presence and meeting. Business meetings, family celebrations, educational events, all take on a new dimension when participants can share not only words, but also digital objects superimposed on a common space. A question arises: are we losing something important when direct human contact is mediated by technology? Some researchers express concerns that an excessive fascination with AR communication could lead to the atrophy of traditional communication skills and emotional intelligence. Others point to the democratizing potential of the technology, which allows for overcoming physical, social, and linguistic barriers. Imagine a classroom where anatomy is studied not from books, but by exploring a three-dimensional model of the human body, floating right in front of the students. where chemical reactions occur on the table as interactive models, and historical events unfold as holographic scenes. This is not fantasy. This is education in the era of augmented reality, revolutionizing the very process of learning. Pedagogical science has for decades sought ways to make learning more visual and engaging. AR finally provides the tools capable of transforming abstract concepts into tangible experience. The implementation of these technologies already demonstrates impressive results. In medical schools at Stanford and Harvard, students use AR to study anatomy, which increased the effectiveness of material assimilation by 40%. In Singaporean schools, science lessons with AR components showed an increase in student engagement and an improvement in test results by a third. The cognitive benefits of such an approach are explained by the fundamental features of human perception. We evolved as beings who learn about the world through direct interaction with it. Immersive learning engages multiple channels of perception and creates emotional involvement, which is critically important for the formation of long-term memory. Particularly significant is the impact of AR on spatial thinking, an ability closely linked to success in natural sciences and engineering. The ability to manipulate virtual objects in real space develops mental skills that are difficult to form through traditional teaching methods. At the same time, AR solves one of the key problems of modern education: motivation. A generation that grew up in a digital environment often perceives traditional learning formats as outdated and detached from reality. Augmented reality creates a bridge between the familiar digital environment and educational content, making the learning process more natural for digital natives. Augmented reality has truly revolutionized the world of entertainment and art, opening up unprecedented opportunities for creative self-expression. The gaming industry became a pioneer in the mass adoption of AR technologies. The phenomenon of Pokémon Go, which garnered over 800 million downloads, demonstrated the potential of transforming ordinary urban spaces into a playground. Players explored real-world locations in search of virtual creatures, creating a unique social experience that combined digital and physical interaction. Following this success, dozens of AR games emerged, from puzzles to horrors, turning familiar spaces into scenes for virtual adventures. Museums and galleries are also actively integrating augmented reality, transforming static exhibits into interactive journeys. At the Louvre, visitors can watch old masters' paintings come to life, and at the British Museum, they can see artifacts in their historical context. AR allows for the addition of layers of information, visualizations, and reconstructions to physical exhibits, making the cultural experience deeper and more multidimensional. Art installations created specifically for interaction through AR are particularly impressive. Works by artists such as Rafik Anadol and Keiichi Matsuda blur the lines between physical and digital art, creating pieces that exist simultaneously in both dimensions. Fundamentally new forms of artistic expression are emerging: spatial narratives, interactive sculptures that react to the viewer, and collective AR performances. Even traditional art forms are being transformed. Theatrical productions are supplemented with digital scenery and characters. Concerts are enriched with visual AR elements that react to music in real time. What happens to our psyche when augmented reality becomes a constant companion in life? This question is increasingly being asked by psychologists studying the long-term effects of AR technologies. Like any immersive technology, augmented reality carries the risk of addiction. Research shows that continuous use of AR applications activates the same dopaminergic reward pathways in the brain as other behavioral addictions. Users report withdrawal symptoms when unable to access their AR devices. Anxiety, irritability, intrusive thoughts about returning to the augmented world. Adolescents are particularly vulnerable, whose neuroplasticity and developing identity make them more susceptible to the influence of immersive technologies. Another equally alarming phenomenon is AR escapism, the desire to avoid solving real-life problems by retreating into a comfortable augmented reality where one can control the environment and receive instant gratification. Clinical psychologists note an increase in the number of patients using AR as a mechanism for stress avoidance, which in the long term impairs their ability to adapt in the real world. One of the most unexpected psychological effects has been a change in the perception of one's own body. The phenomenon, dubbed AR dysmorphia, manifests when people begin to perceive their natural appearance as insufficient after regular use of AR filters and masks. This leads to increased anxiety, decreased self-esteem, and even an increase in demand for cosmetic surgery. In a world where digital and physical objects coexist, our attention becomes the most valuable and limited resource. Researchers at MIT have discovered a disturbing trend. Regular users of AR systems demonstrate a 27% decrease in their ability to maintain focus on real objects compared to a control group. This phenomenon has been termed digital attention interference. Our brains evolved to process information from the physical world, but we're not prepared for a constant stream of overlaid digital data. When we look at a city street through AR glasses showing establishment names, reviews, navigation prompts, and advertisements, our perceptual channels become overloaded. The brain is forced to constantly switch between real and virtual stimuli, which depletes cognitive resources. Particularly revealing are the experiments of Professor Sarah Jenkins from Stanford, who studied the eye movements of AR users. She found that environmental scanning patterns radically change. The gaze becomes more chaotic, fixations are shorter, and saccades, rapid eye movements, are more frequent. This leads to a superficial perception of both real and virtual objects. An even more alarming effect is tunnel vision, where the user becomes so focused on AR content that they completely ignore important elements of the physical environment. This phenomenon has already led to an increase in accidents among AR users in urban settings. However, methods exist for maintaining cognitive control in the era of digital overlays. Neuropsychologists recommend the practice of digital detox, regular periods of complete disconnection from AR devices to restore natural attention patterns. The method of mindful AR consumption also proves effective, consciously limiting the number of simultaneously displayed digital elements and setting information prioritization filters. With the development of augmented reality, humanity has encountered a whole spectrum of ethical challenges requiring immediate attention. Perhaps the most acute among them is the issue of privacy. AR devices continuously scan the surrounding space, collecting unprecedented volumes of data about our private lives. Smart glasses are capable of recording everything you look at, analyzing your emotional reactions, and even identifying people around you without their consent. Where does the line lie between technological convenience and total surveillance? Who owns the data collected in your own home? These questions remain without clear answers in the legal frameworks of many countries. No less alarming is the problem of information inequality. Expensive AR systems create a new form of digital divide, where privileged groups gain access to enhanced capabilities for perceiving and processing information unavailable to others. Imagine a society where some citizens see a world enriched with useful data, while others are deprived of this advantage. Such inequality can exacerbate existing socio-economic gaps. Perhaps the most insidious ethical dilemma is the potential for manipulation of perception. AR literally allows us to change how we see the world, substituting or modifying elements of reality. Who determines which objects can be removed from the user's field of vision? Is it permissible to use AR to mask social problems, for example, by hiding signs of poverty or environmental destruction? Where is the line between useful information filtering and dangerous censorship of reality? The responsibility of AR system developers takes on an unprecedented scale. Their decisions affect not just the functionality of software, but the very perception of reality for millions of people. At the same time, the industry remains virtually unregulated, guided primarily by commercial interests rather than public good. What kind of world awaits us in the coming decades, when augmented reality becomes an integral part of everyday life? Future scenarios range from moderate to radical, but all of them portend fundamental changes in how we perceive the world. The moderate scenario suggests an evolutionary development. AR glasses, similar to ordinary ones, will become a common accessory, providing contextual information at the user's request. We will switch between augmented and normal perception at our discretion. Bolder predictions describe a world where the boundaries between digital and physical completely blur. Microscopic implants in the retina of the eye will make augmented reality constant and indistinguishable from normal vision. Neuro interfaces will allow controlling digital overlays with the power of thought. In such a world, each person will perceive a unique version of reality, tailored to their preferences. The long-term consequences of this transformation will affect all aspects of the human experience. Our thinking will become more visual and spatial, but perhaps less analytical. Memory will increasingly rely on external digital storage. A new form of cultural expression will emerge, art existing exclusively in layers of augmented reality. The most radical change may be the reinterpretation of the very concept of reality, from an objective external world to a collectively created and individually customized space of mixed perception. Summarizing our journey through the world of augmented reality, we see that we stand on the threshold of a new era of interaction with information. AR doesn't just change what we see, but transforms the very process of perception, blurring the lines between digital and physical. This technology carries enormous potential and serious risks, requiring a conscious approach. For harmonious coexistence with augmented reality, several key principles must guide us. First and foremost, conscious use. Like any powerful tool, AR requires control. Regular periods of zero allow the brain to restore natural patterns of perception and attention. It is also important to maintain critical thinking, remembering that any digital layer is someone's interpretation of reality, carrying certain values and attitudes. In an era when reality itself becomes subject to manipulation, the ability to distinguish between facts, opinions, and digital illusions turns into a vital skill. The balance between immersion and presence is another key aspect. Technologies should complement our perception of the world, not replace it. The most effective AR systems of the future will be those that enhance our interaction with physical reality and other people, rather than isolating us from them. Special attention should be paid to ethical aspects. We need a public dialogue about the boundaries of AR application, issues of privacy, and access to technology. The future of augmented reality must be shaped not only by technological capabilities, but also by societal values. Ultimately, Augmented reality is not just a technology, but a new language for interacting with the world. And like any language, it can enrich our experience or impoverish it, depending on how we use it. The wise and conscious mastery of this language is a task facing each of us and society as a whole.